Now, how dry you want your hair before you start blow drying really depends on your hair type. If you have a curly, coarse hair type, you're going to want to start blow drying and styling when it's still pretty wet, very wet. If you have a finer, silkier texture, you could let it dry a little longer before you start styling it, like air dry, right? The key is, though, at the very beginning, when you're out of the shower, you towel dry, you go ahead and take your hair down, put your product in, and then comb it and part it the way you want it to stay. If you don't do this to the end and it's already dried some, it's going to want to stay however it dried. Hot tip and something to know when you are styling your hair. If you think of your hair like making chocolate candies, right? First you have to heat your chocolate up, and then you put your chocolate in a mold. Same thing with your hair. First you have to heat it up. So I'm doing that with the blow dryer first, right? And I'm going from wet to dry. So next, you put your chocolate in your mold. Same thing with your hair. I need to put it in a mold the way I want it to stay. Third, I have to let that chocolate completely set and cool down. If I let it out of the mold too soon, it's going to take on its own shape. Gravity is going to take over. Same thing with your hair. You have to let it set in the shape that you want it to stay. Whether that be up and away from your scalp, you want volume. Whether that be you have curly, coarse hair, you're trying to get it smooth, straight. This is my shape. Whether it be around a curling iron or other hot tool or a round brush, flat brush, whatever the case may be, you have to let it completely cool and set before you let it out of that position. Hair actually takes 20 minutes to cool and set. So if you can place it around something to keep it in that position until it does completely cool down, that is a plus. If not, sometimes I use the cool button of my blow dryer. It kind of depends on the amount of time in the morning. As always, what I'm going to do right before I start blow drying, use my instant blowout spray because I love this stuff and I want to save as much time as possible. I want to protect my hair from the heat. Now what I'm going to start doing when I blow dry is I'm going to do what's called a rough dry first, right? Even though I'm calling it a rough dry, I'm not like whipping my hair around. If you think about it, the air's coming out of this nozzle with the concentrator at about 70 miles per hour. If you look at a flag, right, that's been wind blown, it shreds over time. You will do the same thing to your hair. So anytime you blow dry, always make sure you're going with your hair, never point straight into it, and you're not whipping it around either. You'll also see me turn upside down because this is my hair type, right? It's silky, it's finer. I need some volume. I'm going to focus on my hair being straight up and away from my scalp when I'm upside down, as well as my nozzle pointing towards the floor, so it's still pointing with my hair. I want volume, but I want shiny volume, right? The other thing I'll do is I'll let my hair completely cool down before I come back up. Or what I like to do is I like to do a cool shot on my hair before I come back up. So what I'm going to do is a round brush style today. I'm going to start through the top. Heat rises. It makes the most sense to start from the top. It also makes the most sense to dry at your root first. If you start to dry your ends first, the water from your roots drips to your ends and you're just basically blow drying them twice. So I'm going to start drying at my root. I'm going to get it about 80% dry with my hair type. Anyone else's hair type that's like curlier, coarser texture, I'm going to start when it's like 30% dry or like 70% still wet, if that makes sense. I'm going to start up here and I'm going to do it for a lot of volume and height. Key is too, I have to get below the curve of my head. I have to put volume in over here so that up here has enough support to stay throughout the day and to keep the volume I place. I'm going to begin. Pay attention how the nozzle is pointing down with my hair. However, I shape it on that round brush, which is kind of like a big curling iron, right? Because it's metal. It's how it's going to stay. However, I place it and let it cool down, that's how it's going to stay. So I'm going to make sure to place it in the position I want it before moving on to the next section. Put this to the other side. So also notice with my round brush, if you will, still pointing down with my hair. But on this side, because it's ergonomically more comfortable and I can get it in the direction I need it, I switched to holding the handle. Whereas the other side, I switched to holding the nozzle. Good way is to twist it as you're bringing it out, and that way you can maintain the shape of the round brush. Whatever direction I'm putting my hair, that's the way my nozzle is going to go. So first I'm going to get right in here. So with your round brush, you always want to take the side section of the thickness of your round brush, never thicker. So with your round brush, you're going to match the size of your round brush for your sectioning. The thickness of the brush, which I'll show you like right here, and the width of your brush there. I can either hold this and wrap it down here and pin it. And if I'm going to pin it like this, I'm going to pin it underneath in the curl so that I don't get a crease. Or the other option is if, say, you have big rollers, that is another option as well. One thing I'm going to do is when I'm doing a section, first off, I always want to make sure to pay attention to the angle of it. It's not back like that. If it's back like that, I'm flat at my root. So I typically go over directed, pinch together the ends, and then I am pressing the ends as I roll it. So I put it in a little above the ends. I press them so that I can get it on there secure. And then I'm rolling back, right, and securing it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this section right up here. I'm going to blow dry that back as well. But then this I'm going to do more forward and shaped with the front. Again, I want to really get in by the root and lift up to create that volume. And I might even hit my cool button. That's the best way to do it, especially for this area, to really pay special attention so that you can get that volume to stay. And then I'm going to brush through it. I don't know if you noticed, but I always brush through before I begin to round brush. So you always brush through your section before you begin to round brush. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to pin it instead of using my roller. So I'm going to take this section right here, and now I'm going to lift up through the sides. I'll show you that. My nozzle is always pointing with my hair. But I want volume. See how I hold it here, and then I'm grabbing with my fingers. Sometimes I have to switch my position because it's easier to come up this way, right? When I'm doing it myself at home. Right in here, and again I brush it to smooth it. I smooth these ends, and then I'm going to put a roller right in there. I pinch them, kind of comb it through the roller, and I'm pressing this down, and then I roll down. And there it is. I don't know if I mentioned, so we have these blow dryers here, and what I love about them is that they have positive and negative ions that you can choose from on your blow dryer. One helps to create more volume, and the other helps to create a smoother effect. So, and it actually says it on there so you won't forget. As I'm taking it out, of course I brush through it because I want smooth volume. The setting that I have the blow dryer on is the smooth volume. Amazing. They're not your cheapest blow dryer, but they're not meant to be. They're a higher quality. They last longer. You have more options. You get better results with your blow drying. Your tools make a huge difference. They are worth the investment. So I'm going to pinch the ends together. I'm going to also brush through with my roller. Going up, up, up. Because again, I want these up. I don't want them flat with the curl. The key is I want volume in my hair. So what I want to do next is just make sure to refine the area around my face. I'm going to release it and spin it in the direction I want it to stay. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it and place it, right, after it comes out of the round brush. If I don't, it's not going to stay in place. I have to shape it in that mold that I want it to stay, just like those chocolate candies, right? Keep that in mind. Whatever way it cools down and dries completely, that is the way it'll stay. If you can go from more wet to dry, it'll last longer. If I want my ends, say I want volume, right? I want some lift through my bangs. I'm going to lift up. Still always pointing my blow dryer with my hair. And then when I release, I'm most likely going to come over here, right? And I'm going to pinch it. I might even need to put my blow dryer down, whatever you need to do, right? This here, that there. Go do whatever you need to do. If you can let this sit for 20 minutes, awesome. If not, I get it. You got to get out of the car. Shoot, I've even ridden in the car with it before. The other thing that I love to do sometimes is to spray it with a light hold hairspray. I don't like my bangs to fall on my face all day, right? So I will spray it. I'll put my hand here, spray it to the side. I might spray these to help them stay into place since they're not actually shaped around anything. And sometimes I'll just miss this. I always go in the direction of my hair, right? So this out here, you don't want to spray this close. You don't want to spray that close. I sprayed a little too close here. That's why it became all. So you'll notice that the further away you are, the better. You want to mist it, right? And place your hair where you want it. One thing I'm going to do before I start taking the rollers down is I'm going to put a little bit of this product. It's Keratin Smooth Silkening Polish, just a tiny, tiny bit. And I'm going to define anything I want to under here. Always spread it through your hands really good before ever touching your hair with any type of product. Right? So I'm just going to barely touch the ends, add some shine, get whatever I need to. And then I still have some left over in my hands as I start to let my hair down. The other thing I'm going to do is as I go, see I'm polishing the ends. I already have a tiny bit of that product in my hands. I'm also going to do some precision powder. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to go underneath. And I'm going to bring it down. The other thing that you can use, which I'm going to put a little bit in, I like a lot of volume, is the volume powder. This has a little extra hold, but I am just tapping it, right, to put it in. I can always add more, but it's one of those products. We sell it like crazy. But if you do put too much in it, there's not too much you could do. Maybe wear it up that day, whatever the case may be. So you always want to go underneath to mix that product above and below your part. And I'm going to reshape my ends. So I'm going to finish bringing it all down in this manner. I have a little bit of my silkening polish, tiny bit. I'm going to put either the volume powder or the precision powder, depending on the amount of hold that I want and how precise I want to get, right under here. Right? I lift up to mix that in. And I bring this down. I'm going to marry it with a section underneath of it, just like that. I might also put a little bit on the back of my hand, just because you do want to be careful. Well, with my hair type in particular, that I don't get too much on there. But man, is it amazing, amazing stuff. So I brush through that. I might need to brush through it again if the smoothness came out at all. I have a little bit of that on my fingertips. I'm doing this. Before I let it down, I'm applying the volume powder. I let it down. I'm going to lift it up at my root area, mix that volume powder above and below the root, and then I'm going to marry this section in with the ones underneath of it, and I'm going to shape it how I want it shaped. This is the section that I used the clip. So say you didn't clip it, right? You're going to take your blow dryer and your round brush again. You could take a flat iron, but why not just take this? This is metal as well, so it's almost like your flat iron. It's going to heat up and allow you to shape it. So I don't want to get the heat back on my root because I've already let it set and cool. But it's okay if I get it through my ends again, and then I can strategically set it in place. And have it heated back up. right? And I still angled it for wanting volume. I didn't all of a sudden start making it go flat again. Because although we're not directly putting the heat on there, some of the heat's still going to get on that root area. Then I have that on the back of my hand. I like the volume powder. I like a little extra hold. It depends on the person. Rub that in, spread it through really good. And then I'm going to place this exactly where I want it to stay. I'm going to work with it, and then I'm going to spray it. Probably go this way with it. So I'm going to place it, and voila, there's my blowout. Probably going to use a soft set hairspray at this point because I have the hold and movement that I need in it. I'm just kind of setting it right into place.